This is a character that almost never speaks because silence travels further than words. Mr. Bean became one of the most recognizable figures on Earth without explaining himself, without translating jokes, and without ever asking the audience to keep up. In this video, I'm going to show how Mr. Bean was created, how silence became a deliberate tool rather than a limitation, how sound and visuals replaced language, and how this strange little show quietly changed the way comedy travels across the world. I'm even going to go as far as explaining what kinds of creative tools and production choices were used to make this possible, and how those same ideas still shape the products and creative workflows we use daily, even in 2026. This is the story of Mr. Bean. Before Mr. Bean ever appeared on television, Rowan Atkinson was studying engineering, a discipline obsessed with efficiency, systems, and outcomes. That background shaped the way he thought about comedy long before he ever stepped in front of a camera. Atkinson wasn't interested in jokes that depended on clever wording. He was interested in reactions, timing, and human behavior under pressure. During live performances in the late 1970s and early 1980s, he began experimenting with physical comedy that relied on silence, awkward pauses, and exaggerated expressions. What surprised him was not just that people laughed, but that they laughed in the same way regardless of background. Even though it doesn't seem like it, that sound-first approach did not just end with the show. Modern microphones used by creators today are built on the same production principle, capturing small details clearly so sound can carry emotion on its own. I've linked one such microphone in the description that follows this same approach. When Mr. Bean moved from stage performances to television in the late 1980s, the character faced a completely different challenge. Television demanded structure, clarity, and repeatability. Episodes needed to work, even if viewers joined halfway through, missed previous episodes, or watched on small, low-quality screens. Instead of reshaping the character to fit television, the production reshaped television around the character. Scenes were framed clearly, actions were staged carefully, and facial expressions were held long enough to be readable without explanation. Every movement had to communicate intent, emotion, and outcome. Silence stopped being a stylistic choice and became the backbone of the format. By removing dialogue, the show removed the risk of misunderstanding. By focusing on visuals, it increased accessibility. What looked simple on screen was the result of precision, restraint, and deliberate design. To make that work, the camera had to stay out of the way. Shots were steady, wide enough to read full body movement, and lit to avoid harsh shadows that could hide expressions. The image was slightly soft, not because of limits, but because clarity mattered more than sharpness. That same idea still guides visual storytelling today, and if you're curious, I've linked a newer, even better version in the description that many creators use today. And if this kind of visual clarity matters to you, it's absolutely worth checking out. Although Mr. Bean rarely speaks, the show is never quiet. Every sound serves a purpose. Bean's breathing changes with his mood. His hums, sighs, and frustrated noises replace internal dialogue. The audience always knows what he is thinking, even though he never explains himself. This required an extraordinary focus on sound design. Foley artists recreated footsteps, fabric movement, object handling, and room acoustics so that every physical action carried emotional weight. These sounds were not background details. They were storytelling tools. Sound became Bean's voice. It guided emotion, timing, and tension without ever becoming language. This approach influenced far more than comedy. It shaped how modern creators think about audio clarity, where clean sound often communicates more effectively than words. If you are interested in how sound clarity works today, I have added links in the description to tools related to listening and audio capture for anyone who wants guidance for their own projects. When Mr. Bean premiered on British television in January 1990, the response was immediate and unusually strong. Viewers understood the character within minutes, without needing context, explanation, or previous episodes. The format made the show accessible from the very first scene, and audiences quickly returned week after week. Broadcasters initially treated the series as a small experiment rather than a major success. A mostly silent character was seen as a risk, especially for long-term television. Instead, ratings steadily increased, reruns performed just as well as original broadcasts, and the character gained momentum without relying on promotion or trends. As the show moved beyond the UK throughout the early 1990s, something unexpected happened. The episodes required almost no changes for international audiences. There were no scripts to translate and no jokes to rewrite. The same versions aired globally, and the character worked immediately in every region. By the mid-1990s, Mr. Bean had become internationally recognizable, appearing in films, commercials, and live performances. The success was not tied to timing or cultural relevance, but to clarity. The show could be understood from across a room, on small screens and without sound cues tied to language. In 2002, Mr. Bean, the animated series, launched, extending the character into a new generation. The animated format preserved the same structure and silence-driven logic, while allowing more exaggerated physical comedy. Importantly, the character was not modernized or rewritten. The same principles that worked in 1990 were simply carried forward. The animated series succeeded for the same reason the original did. It respected the system that had already proven itself. Mr. Bean remained consistent, readable, and independent of time, allowing the character to continue without losing identity. At its core, Mr. Bean is about noticing details most people overlook. Comedy does not come from chaos alone, but from small misjudgments, tiny hesitations, and exaggerated confidence in ordinary situations. This is why creative work often starts with observation rather than inspiration. Writing things down, sketching ideas, or paying attention to everyday behavior sharpens creative instincts. That attention to small details shaped the entire show. Modern creative tools are still built around the same need, capturing observation before it disappears. I've linked one such tool in the description that follows this same process. By the way, each product linked in the description is included as a modern continuation of the production principles that made Mr. Bean work. Because what appears effortless on screen was the result of intense discipline behind the scenes. Scenes were rehearsed extensively. Timing was adjusted frame by frame. Physical movements were refined until they communicated emotion without explanation. The restraint required to avoid dialogue was not easy. Many ideas were abandoned because they could not be communicated visually. The team consistently chose clarity over cleverness, even when it meant sacrificing jokes that might have worked with words. That restraint is why the show endures. Mr. Bean reminds us that being understood does not require explanation. It requires honesty and action. He never pretends to be cooler, smarter, or more capable than he is. He simply exists, and in doing so, reflects the parts of ourselves we usually try to hide. So let this thought stay with you as you move forward. You don't have to explain yourself to be valid. The moment you act truthfully, the world understands more than you think. And this is Mr. Bean.